Hi there, thank you so much for being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I created these prayer hands, exploring the three stages: the outline and underdrawing, the rich colour stage, and then the detail stage. Be sure to watch it right through till the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Alright, just starting off with a centre point then. The area is 7.5 inches be 5 inch, and then using imaginary angles from that centre point to create the shapes, and it's just basically just getting a feel for it. So I'm doing it very lightly, holding the pencil quite a distance away from the point to create loose marks, and using the eraser just to reshape things. It's almost like sculpturing the shapes, and the fingers do look like sausages when you first draw them as an outline. It's only when you start putting that form in this they start to become round and look like fingers. I always find it easier if I have the reference image small enough so I can see the whole image. That way I can see the shapes against other shapes, and you don't get sort of lost in the enlargement of an image then. The pencil I'm using is a 708 Pastel pencil, which is ideal because it's slightly darker than the actual pastel mat, but when it's sort of erased out it only leaves a ghosty outline then. The reason I use grey is because every colour can become a grey by using its complementary colour, so it don't create mud then when you start putting colours over this grey pencil, so it really is ideal. I do tend to spend a lot of time with the outline, just trying to get it as best as I can, because each stage makes the other stage easier then. So if you get things in positions, there's less moving around to do when you start putting the colours in. But there's a lot of things you can do with the underdrawing, which again gets the placement in a better place for when you start putting the rich colours. So that's why I do all these stages, because each stage makes every stage following more easy and enjoyable. Bring the reference image inside you, so let that reference image come into your heart and draw it from there, and then just let it flow. If you think about it too much, that's when tension starts to happen. Just ghosting the image now, just taking the excess grey away from the board. Here's the colours I'll be using for the underdrawing, plus this 706 Pastel pencil, which is a similar colour to the pastel matte grey, dark grey I use, which tidies up then the edges then around the colours. Right, the underdrawing stage then, it's all about just keeping it nice and loose and enjoying the process again, and it's a chance to be sort of free flowing. And what I tend to do first is put the white down, more pressure where it's lighter, less where it's mid-tone, and then just glaze over with red, using the olive green to actually desaturate it, and then warming it up in places with the yellow ochre. Now with this stage I'm not really interested in getting the chroma right, the value or the temperature. All it is, it's just about getting the shapes in the right place. So just see all these details as shapes, and then just lightly get some idea of colours. I'm putting a little bit of blue in there actually as well to make it more of a sort of colder red in places. So it's just a case of being really loose with it and enjoying moving these shapes around. It's quite fun really, because it really does make you feel like you're doing a loose drawing. But it's all preparation for when you start putting those richer colours in and start putting more detail in. So each stage makes the next stage easier, like I mentioned earlier. So just enjoy it for what it is. Normally for the deep shadows I use dark green and cold red, but when it's an underdrawing you can just use the brown and red just to get some sort of basic shape in there, and all that subtlety will be put in the next stages. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Another great thing about doing an underdrawing as well is just covering that tooth up with pigment, so it sort of acts as a vehicle then for when you're putting the richer colours on, it goes on a lot smoother. So it's all sort of preparation, like I mentioned. With this stage as well, I really love to connect to the energy of the subject. Even though these are just hands, there's energy in them from the person who's praying. And this actually, as a self-portrait, it's actually my hands. But what I did, I sent energy to them, praying energy, and hopefully you probably can sense that. And that's what I'm doing, is open my heart, letting that image come into my feeling of connection, and just let that flow through me and out my hands. So then I'm feeling what I'm doing rather than thinking what I'm doing. Even though the colours are not correct at the moment, there's a certain colour harmony with them because I'm using a small amount of pencils, mainly primary really, and then the secondary green there, just to sort of get all that sort of information down there. But there's a feeling that everything sort of belongs together. But when you start putting that richer colour on, which is later on in the video, you'll see it all transform then. Now these are the Caran d'Ache colours I'll be using, that pre-mixed flesh tints from Caran d'Ache, and then the normal colours I tend to use for the underdrawing there. So it's a combination using both. I'm using a Faber-Castell white here as well for the whitest area because it's nice and fresh. Now I don't put a lot of details in this rich colour stage, it's still a block in, but what I'm doing now is focusing on values and temperature and chroma, so you can really enjoy creating that rather than trying to get all those details down. So again, it's another stage where you can just enjoy and relax and don't get too overwhelmed by what needs to be done. I'm still drawing as well while I'm doing this stage. I'm still sort of moving things around if I need to. Just a certain amount of detail, but all that will be put in later on in this video. I'm slowing down to real time now so you can get a closer look. Now I've just used that like dark skin tone flesh tint from Caran d'Ache in there, then added that red over the top and then desaturate it with green. Now you can either use these premix colours or you can use the green and red desaturate to make shadows, but if you've got a colour that matches you might as well use it. So that's why I've tended to use these dark flesh tints from Caran d'Ache 5%. Now this one is the 5% flesh tint from Caran d'Ache, which is the lighter tint version, and placing that in. All it is yellow ochre and white really, but it's a quicker way of doing it rather than putting white down then putting yellow ochre on the top. Here's a closer look at the dark skin tone now. I'm using that now. I'm tend to using it more regular now. It's quite a handy shade. 5% dark flesh it is from the Caran d'Ache range, and then you can just put colours on the top then just to alter it slightly. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all my Patreons for their wonderful support every month. I can't thank you enough. If you're considering joining me on Patreon and would like the benefit of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please check the link in the description below. All the videos I put on there now is all in real-time audio, real-time video, so you get a real feel for what I'm doing moment to moment as I discuss every procedure. Just slowing it down a little now so you can see me use these pre-mix colours again. There's different shades. All they are is a yellow ochre and a bit of red and white mix, all in different sort of proportions. It just saves time really, but you can just use the normal yellow ochre and warm red from Caran d'Ache and mix them with white and you'll just get the same sort of feel. This is a pink mix as well, so all I'm doing is saving time by adding these pre-mixes, but everything can be done by them simple pencils, the red, blue and yellow ochre. It's just this is a quick way I'm working with at the moment, just to share that with you. So just to mention again, this stage is all about blocking in those values, the chroma. It's generally just getting that sort of feel of the colour in place. So putting more pigment down there and just building it up, and just getting a general sort of idea where everything belongs before you start putting the detail in. Because I always say no point putting details in if it's in the wrong place or things need moving. So I just make sure everything's in the correct place, and now the colours are similar to what I'm looking for, but then I'll add all that finesse and subtlety later on this video when I start doing the details. Now I usually find if there's a warm light on the object, the shadows are cool, so I'm using cold red with the warm red here in places just to vary it up a little. So, and it creates a darker depth to it as well, just adding that cold red. Now for the detail stage, slowing it down here so you can have a look at what I'm doing. On the nail here, I'm putting the white down, then putting a little bit of lemon yellow to give it that zinginess. Anything with chrome, if you add that lemon yellow with it, it just makes it glow. And then just blending it with the Carbothello white, which is titanium white, and then using the fresher whites to get that really bright highlight. And then just going over with a bit of cold red, so you're combining all these different colours together and it gets really subtle. So the light is so vibrant. I'm starting to use these yellow ochre and warm red from the Caran d'Ache. They're really sort of vibrant in the pigment, so you can put that in and it makes it sort of glow more. And then I'm using the Premix darker shading with it as well. So it's combining all these sort of elements together just to get the correct feel. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. Now I tend to work on several areas at once. 1 minute I'll be working on, say, a nail, then might go to a different knuckle. It could be anywhere, but it all gets done eventually. I don't just focus on one part and get that detailed, then move on to the next part and get that detailed. I'm still sort of trying to keep it loose by going different places, because it all has to be done in the end. It's just a matter of just letting your feelings tell you where to go. So if there's something that needs attention, you just go to it and then correct it, and then you'll find you'll go somewhere else then, and then just go with the flow that way, rather than just focusing one thing and then moving on to the other. My aspiration is to really try and make something feel as one, so it's all sort of energy rather than individual little bits of details. Because when you see someone or an object, you don't look at all the details straight away. You feel what it feels like, and then you have a look around. For the shadow areas, I'm using green to desaturate the red, which will create a natural skin tone colour. I use cold red as well in places. So just keep trying the different ones until it starts to feel right. You'll get a feel for whether it's warmer or colder. Now here I'm using the white, but I'm using it in like different directions to get the sort of skin feel to it, the sort of texture. If you want to know more about how to create skin tone shadows, and any shadow in particular, I have got a free class, and it's an in-depth look at how you use complementary colours to create natural shadows. The link is in the description below if you want to check that out. It's absolutely free and it's there for you. Now for the background, I did it loose really in the end. I mean, I put that colour behind my hands there in Photoshop, but I just decided I keep it a normal grey and then just put it in very sort of loosely, so it's like more of a sketchy type of feel to it. So I just laid it in. 708 and 706 pencils I used. Just folded a piece of tissue just to help with the blending. Line it right down now for you so you can see these details, these final details going in. So to get that sort of skin tone texture, because my hands are getting a little bit old now, so I've got some wrinkles in there. So you're putting that green down, then the red to desaturate it, and then just glazing over with the lemon yellow. Adding a little lemon yellow just make all the difference with the chroma. It just makes it glow where you need it to. Now using the pink white from the Caran d'Ache range just to put little highlights here and there. Now if you haven't got that, just use white and then glaze with a bit of red. And then just going around certain areas, just adding again a bit of green and a bit of red to get that wrinkle. Creating skin tone shadows are quite interesting to do. You've got reflected light going on there as well, so it's not always a cold shadow. If it's a warm light, there's sort of warm, sort of reflected light, depends on what's around the object. Now I do a lot of looking in the mirror at this stage just to see it from a different angle, see what needs to be changed and what needs to be softened. And here I noticed that the depth of the shadows wasn't deep enough, so what I did, I used the brown and the dark blue with the old dark ultramarine blue together, and it really throws it back and it creates more of a depth to that area then. Now I tend not to do everything exactly what the reference image is. It's my interpretation at the end of the day, and a way of keeping everything sort of relaxed as well, because if I'm focusing on everything being exactly the same, that's hyperrealism. It can be quite taxing, you know, it would be very sort of intense. And where I'm sort of coming from at the moment is trying to keep things nice and loose and try and get that reality by just a little bit of detail here and there. And the mind sort of fills in the gaps, if you like. So it's all about how it feels for me at the moment and what I get from the energy of it, rather than having all the details exactly the same as the reference. Best to take your time with the details, have loads of breaks and keep coming back to it, because these little subtleties just make all the difference. You're softening some areas, making other areas sharper, and it's just getting the overall balance right. Thank you so much for watching the video right till the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. That would mean so much to me, because this would help the channel to grow. Now if there's any questions at all, if you've got any thoughts about the actual drawing, please leave a message in the comment section below this video in YouTube, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But in the meantime, if you want to watch any more of my work, please check out this video here. Take care. Bye.